Once upon a time, in a village called Umudina, located in the heart of Africa, lying between the tall Iroko trees and thick grassland, existed a man called Omenka. Omenka was a very hardworking man. He was the greatest farmer that ever existed in the village. Known for his yam and cassava farm, he was well respected by everyone in the village. Omenka has 2 wives, Ajalugo and Uju, and was blessed with 2 beautiful daughters, with the wives having 1 daughter each, Daberechi and Ngozi. Omenka so much loved his 2 wives and treated them equally, showing them love and attention, making sure they never lack anything. Daberechi was the first daughter who was given birth to by the first wife. Daberechi was very beautiful and was loved for her singing and cooking skills. She learnt the cooking skills from her mother, who owned a local restaurant in the village. Everybody in the village loves her cooking, and their restaurant was always filled up and was known for the best bushmeat pepper soup in the village. On the other hand, Ngozi, who was the daughter of the second wife, she was also beautiful and was known for her talent in clothes and bead making. But there was a problem. Ngozi is so greedy and was so envious of her stepsister because of her singing talent. The kingdom was ruled by King Okodili the Great, who was the son of a great hunter. One day, Okodili the Great invited Omenka to his palace, where he discussed about rewarding him for his hard work in the community. The king decided that the prince would get married to one of his beautiful daughters. Omenka, who loved his 2 daughters so much and equally, was in dilemma because he didn't know which of his daughters to give to the prince. Uju's sister, who was a maid in the palace, overheard the king and Omenka's conversation and immediately rushed to tell her sister about it. When Omenka's second wife, Uju, heard of this, she called her daughter and told her about it. They came up with a plan to make the prince hate Daberechi. Uju was threatened by Daberechi's beauty and was scared that the prince was going to choose Daberechi over her daughter. So she planned with Ngozi, her daughter, and they decided to go visit the witch doctor living in the outskirts of the village. The witch doctor was separated from other people in the village because of her evil deeds. Uju and her daughter asked the witch doctor to cast a spell on Daberechi so she can be rejected by all men, including the prince. They promised the witch doctor gold and power if she becomes the queen. The witch doctor, who also wanted to get back at Ajalugo for testifying against her for killing her only child and husband for her dark, evil power. It happened that one night when Ajalugo went outside to eat herself, that was when she heard a funny sound. As she peeped, it was Nnenjo, meaning evil mother, as she was fondly called by the people of the community, making some dangerous incantations, calling the name of her only child and her husband. That was the same night they died. The witch doctor accepted to cast a spell on Daberechi and later that night, the witch doctor performed the ritual, chanting ancient incantations and invoking the spirits of the underworld. As the final word of the incantation echoed into the air, the curse took hold of Daberechi, seeping into her very being like a poison. The next morning, Daberechi woke up with rashes on her skin, which resembles leprosy, and a smell emanated from her skin. The smell was so potent that even the flowers withered in her presence. She once looked really pretty, but now she has spots and rashes on her skin that makes her look different. People got scared when they saw her. Daberechi, who was once loved by everybody in the village, now became a laughingstock. People no longer go to her mother's restaurant to eat anymore. Whenever the villagers sees her, they call her all sorts of names and chase her away, saying, "Go away, you stink. Don't bring your curse upon us." Daberechi only finds solace in the forest, where she can be alone to sing to her heart's content. She wept and asked the gods why and what she has done to deserve all of this. As the day goes by, Daberechi's condition became worse, to the extent her parents were also asking questions. What could their loving daughter have done to offend the gods? Because all herbs given to her didn't work. Even Osita, the great herbalist, was called to treat her, but all to no avail. Osita concluded that she had committed a great offense against the gods, that she confess before she can be made whole again. Everybody in the village tagged her with different kinds of names. Some said she was responsible for their low harvest of crops. Others said she was responsible for the recent death of youth and elders of the village. Everybody was confused and asked her to confess her evil deeds. It was the third Ede market day. Prince Obinna was to return to the village. A great feast was planned in order to welcome him back home. Prince Obinna is a very hardworking and handsome young man that has fought and won so many battles for his village. He took after his grandfather in terms of bravery and strength. His people loved him so much, and all the maidens wanted to be his wife. But unfortunately, the king already had an agreement with Omenka, the great farmer, to marry one of his daughters for his son. It was sunrise when Daberechi left for the forest where she finds solace. By this time, the whole villagers were standing by the side of the forest, waiting to welcome the prince from the foreign land where he went to explore and learn more about other cultures. As they wait, all of a sudden, they saw a young man dressed in royal attire with royal beads all over his body. Behold, it's Prince Obinna. Hooray! Everyone shouted and began to jubilate as they welcomed him back home. As they walked him down the road to the palace, Prince Obinna could not help but hear a maiden singing a song. The voice caught his attention and he asked, "Who is singing that song? Or is it part of the welcome celebration?" The villagers told him not to bother himself about the song, that it was a cursed maiden who smells a lot that was singing. As they approached the palace, the king and elders were standing at the entrance of the palace, ready to welcome him home. It was a great day as everybody in the village danced and jubilated because their prince was back. After the celebration, the king introduced Ngozi to the prince as his wife-to-be, and he also told him about the agreements he had with her father. Prince Obinna was happy, but deep inside of him, he felt something was not right, but he could not figure out what it was. Things were moving so fast as the wedding between the prince and Ngozi was planned to take place in the next 2 market days. Uju, the mother of Ngozi, was so happy, and she already started moving around the village with maiden following her around and telling people that she is the mother of the next queen of the village. Prince Obinna was trying very hard to follow along with the wedding plans. Prince Obinna always finds it very difficult to sleep at night as he continued to hear the voice of Daberechi echoing in his heart. It was so much and unbearable for him, so he decided one day to go in search of the lady who was singing. He began to trace her voice back to the forest. On approaching, Daberechi shouted not to come closer to her, that she stinks and nobody can stand her. But he kept moving closer to her, saying he doesn't mind and wants to be her friend. He moved closer to where she sat, held her hand to comfort her. She didn't resist, she could only cry. The prince went home later that day with Daberechi, and the king refused to accept her, saying, "She is cursed by the gods and will bring nothing but calamity upon their land." Prince Obinna left the palace with Daberechi in rage. On reaching the forest, Daberechi broke down in tears, begging Prince Obinna to please listen to his father and leave her alone. Prince Obinna was ready to do anything possible to make her well again. Prince Obinna said he loves her and he will never leave her alone, no matter what. Immediately he said those words, the spirit of their ancestors appeared in a beam of light and said to them, the only solution to her illness was to go wash herself thrice in the Uche Miri. The river is known for its healing power. Nobody knows where the river is located. Many said it's a myth. Only the prince was brave enough to speak to the spirit. He said, "Where can we find the river? Does it even exist? 'Cause I have been hearing about it since when I was just a boy." Then the spirit said, "Do not worry, I will lead you through." Daberechi was overwhelmed with fear. They rose up and began to follow the ancestral spirit. It was a journey of 7 days. Daberechi was so tired during the journey, so the prince had to carry her on his back through the remaining part of the journey. Finally, they reached the great mystical Imiri. At the sight of the river, hope was restored. With the help of Prince Obinna, Daberechi was carried into the water, and she did as they were instructed by the spirits. After the 3rd wash, in a blinding flash of light, the course was charted. The foul stench that had plagued her vanished into thin air, replaced by the sweet fragrance of blooming flower and newfound freedom. Her beauty was radiant as the morning sun, with skin that sparkled like diamond and her eyes as pure as the water. As she graced the ground with her feet, from the water her steps were light as she smiled, and her spirit untamed. With the curse broken, Daberechi and the priest returned to the village, her spirit ablaze with determination and purpose. The villagers watched in awe as she walked amongst them, their hearts filled with wonder at the miraculous transformation that has taken place. It was not just her physical beauty that had been restored, it was her inner strength and resilience that truly captivated their hearts. For Daberechi has shown that true beauty lies not in the perfection of one's outward appearance, but also in the courage to rise above diversity and embrace one's true essence. At the sight of Daberechi, Ngozi and Uju, her mother, were shocked and began to tremble. Immediately, her mother ran to the witch doctor's house, but found her dead and her shrine ablaze. On getting back to the palace, all the villagers were gathered as Ngozi confessed the evil deed she and her mother have done. She was inflicted by the same sickness which was placed upon Daberechi. The villagers were so angry and began to rain curses on Ngozi and her mother. Ngozi's mother became blind immediately, and they were banished from the village to the evil forest, where they lived till they died. Daberechi and Prince Obinna later got married and lived happy ever after. What did you learn from the story so far? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you. And do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more interesting African tale. See you in my next video. Bye.